26. And find out who's the biggest superstar in showbiz right now. All this and much more with me, Diksha Bisla, on WION at these times.
Well, Bangladesh stands at a defining moment in its political history. The country has just witnessed an election unlike any before, one shaped by change, uncertainty and new beginnings. Well, this is the first general election in the country following the ouster of Sheikh Hasina and the demise of Khalida Zia, the two towering figures who dominated the country's political landscape for years. Hello and welcome to Inside South Asia. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Our focus today is on the historic Bangladesh election. Before we bring you all the action from the ground, listen in to a few voices from Bangladesh.
17 years there was only one government. I want something different, like someone who will make this country more developed in front of the whole world, somewhere more that will have morality and some leadership qualities that will not harm the people, and they will think about the poor people and their distress.
When the Awami League was here, people used to think that is how the country will run forever. We also thought that we didn't have any other options since there was no scope of change around us. So I feel very lucky that this day has come.
I hope the country moves toward a better direction. We suffered a lot with terror, enforced disappearances and whatnot.
The counting of votes is currently underway. Barring a few minor hiccups in isolated areas, the overall voting process remained largely peaceful. There are as many as 2,034 candidates in the fray, but only 299 will come out as victors. Bangladesh Nationalist Party led by Tariq Rahman and Jamaat-e-Islami led by Shafiqur Rahman are eyeing the top job. Both men represent different style of politics. Jamaat chief's policies are guided by what they call religious principles, while Tariq Rahman represents BNP's long-standing central-right political agenda. Apart from the parliamentary vote, people of Bangladesh also gave their verdict on a constitutional referendum. The proposal is also called July Charter, which puts term limits for Prime Minister's post, creation of a new upper house of parliament, stronger presidential powers and even greater judicial independence. Sheikh Hasina's Awami League has been barred from the elections. Party's absence has left its large voter base without their primary choice. The tilt of Awami League vote could be a deciding factor of these elections. In fact, Hasina herself is currently living in exile and has called the elections a sham, demanding its cancellation. The country's interim leader, Muhammad Yunus, has expressed gratitude to the voters for holding peaceful elections. Overall voter turnout stood at 48% till 4:30 p.m. local time. Well, opinion polls vary widely, though most give BNP the lead, with some even suggesting a knife-edge race. Results will pave the way for Bangladesh's return to democracy. And joining us on the broadcast live from the ground is my colleague Siddhant Sibal, Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs. He's joining us live from Dhaka. Siddhant, you've been covering elections since early morning. Once again, if you can talk to us about how this was largely a peaceful election. However, there were reports of sporadic violence that's been reported. Tell us exactly what's been happening and the latest that you're learning from the ground.
Well, it was a packed day and the mood was quite festive on the ground. We went poll booth hopping essentially, going from one booth to another booth, starting from Gulshan, which is the place where the BNP chief Tariq Rahman voted. Now, essentially, it has been a peaceful election. It has been a peaceful day of voting. There hasn't been any major incident of violence except in Khulna, where a BNP leader has died, and it's being alleged that it is after altercation with the Jamaat leader. Now, barring that particular incident, no case of violence. And for Bangladesh, this is a feather in the cap in many ways, because that is something that Bangladeshi government was trying to tell to the world. That is what the interim government was trying to tell to the world. Now, there have been several foreign observers present in the country as well. Now, the big focus is the government formation. Now, I'm standing in front of the Bangladesh's Election Commission, and in short while, we will get to know more details, including the percentage of people who cast their vote all throughout the day when the polls started and when they closed at 4:30 p.m. local time here in Dhaka. Also, it's a neck on neck, clearly, between BNP and Jamaat, which is leading almost an 11-party coalition, including the Students' Party. And for BNP, this is a major coming to power if it wins after a gap of several years and, of course, decades. For Jamaat, it's a major lead in many ways because it's going to make a major inroad. It is clear that it is Awami League's loss that has made the gains for BNP. One another key feature was the ban on Awami League, that is Sheikh Hasina's party. She herself has rejected the elections. But here on the ground, clearly speaking to several people, they were clearly saying that it's the BNP that they will bank on.
Yes, Siddhant, we will keep coming back to you for more updates while the counting of votes is underway. Thank you for giving us all those updates. Well, also joining us on the broadcast is Ambassador Veena Sikri. She's been a former Indian High Commissioner in Bangladesh. She's joining us live from New Delhi. Ambassador Sikri, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. How critical are these elections for India's strategic and security interests, especially in areas relating to connectivity and even border cooperation for that matter?
Well, I think we have to look at these elections today in the context of the regime change operation that happened in July, August 2024. And it is because that regime change operation succeeded, it was done meticulously designed, to quote Dr. Muhammad Yunus himself, by the Jamaat-e-Islami, with Pakistan backing the Jamaat-e-Islami and Pakistan being backed by the Western powers. Now, that regime change has set into motion this entire role, because first they were keen not to have elections at all. The Jamaat-e-Islami and Muhammad Yunus, as their spokesperson, said, we'll do reforms for 4 years and then have elections. But of course, the people and the political parties protested. And so the elections were held today. But still, they have brought in the referendum on the so-called July National Charter of 2025. And they are asking 84 questions in 4 segments and expecting people to say one yes or no. And these ballot papers for the referendum have no serial numbering. So you can just imagine that this is a fake referendum. There is no potential or possibility for a referendum in the constitution of Bangladesh. And it's being held just to legitimize a process of another constitutional coup It's another constitutional coup that they want to then change the constitution just because so-called yes vote has come on this referendum. But there's no serial number, so the government can print as many as they like and just stamp the yes vote on them. That is the main thing that is going to happen through this election. The second point is about the Awami League being absent. I think that itself is completely unconstitutional. There is absolutely no reason. The same European diplomats, the British High Commissioner who in 2024 were criticizing Sheikh Hasina because the BNP at that time chose not to participate, they were never banned, are now totally quiet on the factor of Awami League's lack of participation and are trying to justify this. They've changed the whole definition of inclusivity, saying, no, inclusivity is about people, not about political parties. So, can you imagine an election in the USA without the Republicans or an election in the UK without the Labour Party? That is what is happening in Bangladesh. How can anybody accept the results of such elections?
Yes.
This is a complete, it's a complete no-sayer, it's a complete farce. The voter turnout has been very small. I don't know what visuals you're showing,
Yes.
but the figure is about 25%, not more. In places
Ambassador
like
Sikri,
Faridpur.
right. A point taken. The other important aspect is that Jamaat-e-Islami is a hardline Islamist party. Could its rise pivot Bangladesh closer to Pakistan, which will be looking to re-engage with Dhaka diplomatically or even strategically during this political transition?
Pakistan has done exactly that in the last 18 months. In the last 18 months, they have, after they were authorized by the West to do this regime change operation in Bangladesh, they have actually come together and reinstated themselves in Bangladesh as if it were once again East Pakistan. We must remember that the coup, the regime change operation of 2024 was done by the losers of the 1971 Liberation War. And they came to power now, so they're trying to create a pre-1971 situation in Bangladesh. The Pakistan army is trying to embed itself with the Bangladesh army. They have changed all the restrictions that were there earlier in terms of, restriction of visa access, restriction of trade, cargo inspections. Everything has been changed. It's all back to the pre-1971 days. But tell me something, do the people of Bangladesh accept it? I don't think so, because you've seen that Jamaat-e-Islami remains an unpopular party. They have tried over the last 18 months to stamp radicalization throughout Bangladesh. Actually, the people of Bangladesh are not so radical. In fact, when Mohammed Yunus tried to bring in changes and bring religious teachers instead of cultural teachers, there was a revolt from the university. The people there in the university, the boys and girls said, culture and religion are two sides of the same coin. We want both. We want culture and religion. We don't want just religion, we don't want just culture. So I think we have to understand that, and we have to support the liberal forces of Bangladesh. India's constituency in Bangladesh.
Yes, that's exactly what I was coming to, Ambassador Sikri. Sorry to interrupt you there, but important aspect here is the threat faced by minorities in Bangladesh, with India also raising the issue with the Yunus government through diplomatic channels. How will the political transition in Bangladesh impact the situation of minorities in the country, in your thoughts?
I think the minorities have had perhaps the worst ever time. Even in 1971, it was only 9 months. But still, there were a lot of killings of even the Awami Leaguers and the minorities and the intellectuals and the women. Women have been at the worst level. But this time in Bangladesh, it is 18 months. And no respite at all. The focus is on trying to push the minorities out of Bangladesh. And certainly for India, I think it is an unacceptable proposition, and we have repeatedly registered our protest on that. But Bangladesh doesn't listen. Yunus says, fake news from India. And he says, it's not happening. These are not communal attacks. It's only like political. So that means for political, it's okay to do rapes and lynchings and killings and destruction of property and grabbing of businesses. All that is okay if it is political. But, so this is completely wrong. And the Yunus regime must be held to account for that. It is really a travesty of facts that the Western countries who are so keen on human rights have kept totally quiet about it. Just as the Western countries have kept quiet on the non-participation of Awami League. Just as the Western countries have kept quiet on the completely muzzling of the media. The media has been completely muzzled. More than hundreds of journalists are in jail on murder charges. There's no trial, no bail, no FIR, nothing. and media houses have been taken over, and media is under strict instructions what they can print and what they cannot print. And so this is a completely a non-free destination in Bangladesh. But the Western economies, my God, reporters on frontier, everybody's quiet. So actually the blame on this must come on the Western economies, must come on Bangladesh, on the regime of Mohammed Yunus, for trying to change the structure. But I can tell you that the people have voted with their feet. They have kept away from the election today. You've seen Sheikh Hasina has given a very strong statement saying that the election results should not be recognized, and I agree with
Ambassador Sikri, point taken. Appreciate you speaking to WION. That's all the time we had. But let's see how the election results pan out. Hoping things get better for the minorities in Bangladesh. But for now, that's all the time we had. We should focus to other stories you're tracking.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, on the 9th of February, Bangladesh secured a reduced 19% US tariff under a trade agreement that was signed between the two countries, which also granted exemptions for some textiles and garments manufactured with US material. The question is, how significant is this 1 percentage point cut in US tariffs, which is down from 19% to 19% from 20% earlier that was imposed by the Trump administration last August? Our next report gets you the details.
In a significant breakthrough, merely days before the South Asian nation went to the polls on the 12th of February, Bangladesh successfully negotiated a 1 percentage point cut in US tariffs, ushering in welcome relief to its apparel exporters. Noteworthy is the fact that the ready-made garments sector is considered the backbone of Bangladesh's economy, which accounts for more than 80% of total export earnings, employs about 4 million workers and contributes about 10% to gross domestic product. Welcoming the tariff cut, garment factory owner Mohyuddin Rubel cautioned that the industry must continue to adapt and diversify.
Every reduction will be an added advantage for our competition. But of course, if it was like 2% to 5%, it would help more. But even in 1%, like after the reduction of 1%, now we are to the level of all of our competitors except India only, who is basically getting 18%. But still, the 1% reduction will help.
Bangladesh's tariff rate is slightly above the 18% rate for imports from India, agreed last week by the Trump administration, but that deal requires more negotiations to be finalized.
The world is very competitive right now, and you can't rely on any single country or any single product. You have to be competitive, you have to be aware of all the policies around the world, and you have to continue develop your infrastructure and your capabilities. Then only you can sustain in the long run. Otherwise, you'll be out of the market.
For long, election manifestos of various political parties in Bangladesh promised a great deal to the electorate, but to no avail. In the 13th parliamentary election, parties once again have put their best foot forward, with promises galore. While the Bangladesh Nationalist Party has promised to turn the country into a $1 trillion economy by 2034, the Islamists have gone a step further, aiming at the $2 trillion mark by 2040. Will the elected new leadership prove true to their word insofar as the economy is concerned? As a nation waits with bated breath for the all-important election result, there is no denying the fact that a reduction in US tariff is a welcome relief.
We head into a very short break for now, but more stories lined up ahead on Inside South Asia after we come back.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Well, cricket is a religion in the Indian subcontinent, and on Sunday it will celebrate its biggest festival. Heavyweights India and Pakistan are set to face each other at the T20 World Cup in Colombo after days of uncertainty over the biggest match of the tournament.
It took time and a lot of effort, but the marquee India versus Pakistan match is back on track. The Pakistan cricket team has been given the green light to take part in the group stage game by none other than Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. The Pakistan PM reversed his own order, which he had issued earlier this month, sending shockwaves among cricket lovers. In a statement, the Pakistan government said, and I quote, "In view of the outcomes achieved in multilateral discussions, as well as the requests of friendly countries, the government of Pakistan hereby directs the Pakistan national cricket team to take the field on February 15, 2026 for its scheduled fixture in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup." That brought an end to a 10-day standoff, which had cast a dark cloud over the most anticipated match of the tournament, or any multinational cricket tournament in which these two teams participate. It was music to the ears of every cricket lover. After, at the start of the month, Pakistan announced that it would participate in the World Cup but would boycott the match against India on Shehbaz Sharif's order, who wanted to show solidarity with Bangladesh after their demands were rejected and they were replaced by Scotland. So what made Pakistan change its stance? For starters, the frenetic meeting involving the ICC, PCB and the Bangladesh Cricket Board. ICC Deputy Chief Imran Khawaja was in Lahore last weekend, where he met PCB Chief Mohsin Naqvi and BCB President Aminul Islam. The initial signs weren't promising, as reports emerged that the ICC had rejected all of Pakistan's demands. But late on Monday, cricket's global governing body came out with a statement. The ICC announced that Bangladesh would not face any sanctions for pulling out of the World Cup at the last moment. That was a surprise to many, but what followed wasn't. The BCB then released a statement in which it requested Pakistan to play the match. It was a clear sign of those frenetic negotiations bearing fruit. Soon after, the Pakistan government gave the green light to its board to play the match. Pakistan's statement also confirmed that a number of ICC members had urged them not to boycott the match, citing the financial impact, confirming the end of the standoff. The ICC said in a statement, and I quote, "The dialogue between ICC and PCB took place as part of a broader engagement, with both parties recognizing the need for constructive dealings and being united, committed and purposeful in their aspirations to serve the best interests of the game with integrity, neutrality and cooperation."
Well, Basant, Pakistan's famous kite flying festival, which marks the onset of spring, was banned in 2007 after several years of injuries and fatalities that were caused by sharp kite strings, falls and even aerial firings. After almost 2 decades, the Punjab government, led by Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz, lifted the ban due to massive demand and invested heavily in promoting the 3-day-long celebrations. Leaving you with these visuals.
Rooftops across the Pakistani city of Lahore came alive as Basant, a festival in the Punjab province primarily associated with flying kites, made a cautious return after nearly 2 decades. As the sun sets across the city, every rooftop was steaming with families and friends. Merrily laughing, shouting shrieks of joy, watching as kites zigzagged, circled and soared through the city's skies.
Basant has given happiness to not just us, but all of Lahore. People had warned us that there would be no more kites or strings left to buy, and that's exactly what happened. There's nothing available here, so we're going back empty-handed.
For many, the Lahore sky filled with thousands of colors, kites, is a pleasant sight they are unaccustomed to, whereas for many, it is their first time experiencing the intricate art of deftly flying a kite.
The arrival of the Basant festival makes us very happy. We're enjoying it a lot. This is the first time it's happened in my lifetime. I was really excited and I'm enjoying it a lot. I want us to celebrate this festival every year.
We have celebrated Basant a number of times before, but the festivities are bigger this time. It is colorful everywhere. Mariam Nawaz has arranged a very good event for us. We are enjoying it very much.
The joyous festival, held in late January or early February, is a shot in the arm to the struggling economy as well, with hotels at capacity and families celebrating with big meals. For kite makers, the return of Basant means a welcome boom.
The government of Punjab has lifted the ban on the Basant festival. We are involved in the making of kites and strings and are very happy. We pray, God willing, this will happen continuously in the future. Thanks to this, our business is doing so well.
3-star, 4-star hotel the. 3-star and 4-star hotels used to earn 400,000 to 500,000 rupees per day. They are earning from 1.5 to 2 million rupees now. If we look at 4-star, 5-star hotels, they used to do business amounting to 5 million rupees. They are earning about 10 million or 15 million at the moment. The volume of business has increased threefold.
Volume बढ़ गया है business का volume.
2 decades ago, about a dozen people, mostly motorcyclists and bystanders, were killed by razor-sharp strings used in competitive kite flying. In a bid to make the festival safer, it's now been limited to only 3 days. Motorcyclists were given metal rods sticking up between their handlebars to stop any threads they ride into from becoming tied around their necks at the same time. Large kites were banned because they require a stronger string and create a bigger risk.
This idea came from our Madam CM, who is very vibrant and likes to promote culture.
But the festivity remained subdued in many parts of the city. It was overshadowed by the attack at a Shiite mosque on the outskirts of Islamabad on the 6th of February that killed at least 31 people. However, with the festival's return, the 800-year-old tradition has been reinstated under a government initiative. Apart from celebrating culture and heritage, Basant in Pakistan is also about resilience.
An election unlike any other. High stakes. Tall promises. And a changed political landscape. A poll without the battle of the Begums. The return of Jamaat-e-Islami. And a moment of truth for women and minorities. A country in the middle of uncertain times, standing at the cusp of political change. Who will rule Bangladesh?
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at WION.com.